The tech community thrives on speculation, but every now and then, a leak arrives that goes beyond whispers and renders speculation almost unnecessary. That's what has happened with Apple's upcoming iPad Pro, the version rumored to carry the brand new M5 chip. Instead of being limited to blurry photographs or vague component images, what surfaced this time was a full-blown unboxing video. And not just a bare-bones prototype, it looked polished, packaged, and practically retail-ready. For fans and skeptics alike, this is one of the most revealing glimpses into Apple's future direction since the days when an early iPhone for prototype surfaced in a bar more than a decade ago. What makes the situation particularly fascinating is that the device shown doesn't look like a rough draft. It looks finished. It looks like something you'd expect to see on shelves any week now. That single detail changes the conversation entirely. This is no longer a discussion about whether Apple is working on an M5 iPad Pro. That much is practically confirmed. The real question is what the company is preparing to unleash, and how it will change the experience of using a tablet that already pushes the boundaries of what a mobile device can do. The packaging sets the stage for change. Observers noted that the box in this leak is slimmer than that of the M4 generation, and while that might seem minor, Apple rarely alters packaging without a deeper purpose. It could mean a redesigned internal layout, or a shift in Apple's approach to accessories like power adapters, or even another effort to cut down on waste. Once opened, the device inside looks astonishingly thin, once again pushing Apple's obsession with sleekness and minimalism. Holding to the squared-edge industrial design language that has become iconic, the iPad Pro in this form is striking in its simplicity. On the back is a single camera module pared down and minimal, reflecting Apple's belief that the iPad doesn't need the same complex photography systems that iPhones carry. Where things might be changing, however, is on the front, where rumors suggest a dual-camera arrangement could finally debut. That shift would dramatically improve FaceTime and Face ID performance, particularly in landscape orientation, a long-requested upgrade from users tired of awkward off-angle video calls. But hardware design is only half the story. When the leaked device was powered on, the software was listed not as a small patch release, but as a PatOS 26.0. That numbering scheme is unusual and could indicate Apple intends to launch the M5 iPad Pro with a fresh, baseline version of the next-generation operating system. Such a move would align hardware and software in one unified push forward, rather than relying on incremental updates. It's also worth mentioning the lack of iPad Pro branding on the back of the device. This could easily be dismissed as an artifact of it being a pre-production unit, but it might also represent Apple experimenting with a cleaner look and less emphasis on printed labels. At the heart of the leak is what everyone wants to know about the M5 chip. Apple's silicon has consistently redefined performance standards across both Macs and iPads, and the M5 appears to be another confident step forward. The leaked benchmarks reveal a 9-core CPU matching the M4 core count, but pushing higher clock speeds and demonstrating better efficiency. In raw numbers, single-core performance is about 10% faster, while multi-core results climb by 15%. These aren't earth-shattering leaps, but they represent deliberate refinements in areas that professionals will feel the most. More significant perhaps is the bump in L to cache from 4 MB to 6, which will make sustained workloads more efficient and responsive. For creatives using intensive apps like Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro, or for those who demand smooth multitasking, this adjustment is likely to make a noticeable difference. Where the M5 really makes its presence known is in graphics. The Metal performance scores show a staggering 38% improvement over the M4, with GPU benchmarks about 8% higher overall. This puts the iPad Pro squarely into laptop territory for gaming and high-end creative work. Apple has been steadily expanding the portfolio of console-quality titles available on iPad, with recent releases like Resident Evil Village and Assassin's Creed Mirage. And the M5's graphics muscle suggests these experiences will run with more fluidity and at higher fidelity than ever before. Suddenly, the iPad Pro doesn't just look like a tool for creative professionals, it begins to resemble a portable gaming powerhouse. The memory configuration of the leaked device offers yet another surprise. The unit reportedly featured 256 GB of storage paired with 12 GB of RAM. That shift is critical because until now, Apple has limited mid-tier storage options to 8 GB of RAM. reserving the larger 16GB capacity for top-tier models with 1 or 2 TB of storage. If Apple is genuinely raising the baseline RAM to 12GB for these mid-level models, it represents a serious boost for users. RAM has always been the quiet bottleneck for iPad multitasking, and more of it means a smoother experience with Stage Manager, better app switching, and more room for future features. It suggests Apple is preparing for the next wave of iPadOS tools, particularly those driven by AI, that will demand additional memory headroom. On the design front, the M5 iPad Pro carries over much of what made the M4 so recognizable. The flat edges, slim profile, and carefully machined aluminum remain, but closer inspection suggests even more thinning of the chassis. That naturally raises questions about durability and battery performance. Apple has a history of pushing thinness to extremes, sometimes with consequences, as seen with the bending concerns in earlier iPads. This time, hopes are high that Apple has strengthened the material composition to counterbalance the risks. The bezels also look fractionally narrower, creating an impression of more display space without changing the footprint of the device. Combined with possible dual front-facing cameras, the iPad could feel more natural in everyday communication and collaboration. The packaging itself also seems thinner, reflecting Apple's ongoing commitment to reducing material use and promoting environmental sustainability. This aligns with their wider goal of achieving full carbon neutrality by 2030, with each product serving as a statement of intent as much as a technological tool. The software side cannot be overlooked, and iPadOS 26 is clearly intended to play a pivotal role. While all the details are not yet clear, expectations are that it will introduce smarter multitasking, expanding what Stage Manager can do. AI-powered editing tools for photos and videos could give creators a reason to stay entirely within the iPad ecosystem instead of turning to desktops. Expanded Apple Pencil Pro integration might enable new workflows for design, art, and note-taking. Even more compelling are the rumored enhancements to continuity between devices, making the iPad an even more seamless companion to the Mac. External display support is also expected to improve, finally enabling true extended desktops rather than simple mirroring. When paired with the raw power of the M5, these software enhancements transform the iPad from a capable tablet into a serious productivity platform. And then there's the gaming angle, which might be the most unexpected but potentially the most transformative. With GPU gains this large, Apple has the opportunity to position the iPad as a genuine competitor to portable consoles. Imagine being able to play games at high frame rates and even 4K resolution, with full support for controllers from Xbox, PlayStation, and other third parties. Combined with Apple Arcade and potential partnerships with cloud gaming platforms, the iPad Pro could blur the line between a professional tablet and a gaming device, something no other company has fully accomplished at this scale. All of this happens within a broader competitive context. Samsung is preparing to launch its Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra with Qualcomm's powerful Snapdragon X Elite chips. Microsoft is refreshing the Surface Pro X line with more efficient ARM processors. Even Google is said to be exploring AI-first premium tablets. The competition is fierce, and Apple cannot afford a conservative release. For the iPad Pro to hold its ground and justify its premium positioning, it needs to feel like a generational leap. The M5's performance improvements, design refinements, and software features could deliver exactly that. Pricing will be another key factor, and here expectations are already being set. The smaller 11-inch version will likely start around $1,099, while the larger 13-inch could begin closer to $1,299 or even $1,399. At the highest end, fully spec'd models with 2 TB of storage and 16 GB of RAM could break the $2,000 barrier. That would make this the most expensive iPad Pro lineup in history. But Apple has always aimed the Pro series at professionals and power users who are willing to pay for cutting-edge performance and design. When you step back and take in the entire picture, this leak doesn't just outline another annual refresh. It sketches Apple's vision of the iPad's future. The M5 iPad Pro is shaping up as a bridge between tablet and laptop, a professional-grade creative tool, a sustainable product in line with environmental goals, and potentially even a gaming console in disguise. It's not just about raw specs, it's about reimagining what role the iPad can play in the lives of professionals, creators, and everyday users. If these leaks prove accurate, the M5 iPad Pro is more than just an iteration. It's a mission statement. Apple appears ready to signal that the iPad's next chapter is about performance that rivals laptops, multitasking intelligence that feels effortless, and graphics power that makes portable gaming genuinely compelling. It will still be thin, still sleek, and undeniably expensive, but this time, there's a sense that the hardware and software together might finally justify the price tag and the hype. When Apple takes the stage, possibly in October 2025, don't be surprised if this device dominates the headlines and changes the conversation about what a professional tablet should be.